Now the running's over. Now, 3 weeks, you meet the Reaper at WrestleMania.
Hello everyone and welcome to Action RPG Build Guide Edition. Today I'm ready to drop on you my brand new machine gun Stygian Coal LICH. Definitely a different style of build, currently at 550 corruption. As always, I will show you every single facet of the build. Everything is time-stamped in the description below if you need to bounce around. Let's not waste any time and jump right into this. Starting off with some gameplay. Now what you're looking at is 550 corruption machine gun LICH. And the reason why I call it a machine gun LICH is, as you can see, we shoot these machine gun Stygian beams, which auto-target and hit enemies. This is what the Catalyst Stygian Coal does for us. It turns Drain Life into a machine gun. Now, the other skills we are using other than Drain Life, we're using Transplant as our movement. And believe it or not, Transplant actually does decent damage in this build because it's a necrotic spellcaster. We are using Death Seal, of course. We are using Reaper Form, and our spam skill is Rip Blood. And Ripped Blood does decent damage as well. So ultimately, the idea is very simple. You're a Reaper, you're a LICH. You run around, click Drain Life, which would be every 5 seconds. That's how long it channels for. It automatically attacks enemies, and then you run around. You use Rip Blood and Death Seal. Very, very simple. Let me show you some single targets. 550 corruption, fully empowered poison nemesis. Ugh. And dead. 550 corruption, Shade of Oribus. Just hit there, spam Rip Blood. And then when you can get close, Death Seal. Oh, just getting eaten alive. And then kill threshold. One more. 550 corruption, fire bosses. I don't know why, I've been fighting the fire bosses a lot. I don't even really like this fight all that much. It's actually very annoying. But for whatever reason, this has been the mono I have been focusing on. Now, what's great is technically you are a ranged spellcaster, and you actually got pretty good range on your Stygian beams. So even at 550 corruption, dead. Let me show you how to recreate this build. So now let's break down the skills for our machine gun LICH, and I'll try and tell you what points you want to take first. Now, the first thing we are going to look at is our damage dealer, and that is Drain Life. The first thing you want to do is come to the right for less channeling cost, and then you want to take this branch right here. This is Dark Shackles, and this was what actually gives you the machine gun for it to shoot. That way you don't have to continuously actually channel Drain Life. And these two nodes are going to give you 5 seconds. Unequivocally, probably the most important nodes of the entire build. Dark Shackles. You're then going to come down here, and you're going to get Damned Chance, but more importantly, you're going to get Unholy Mass, which is going to give you a 63% multiplicative to your Drain Life. You're then going to come to the left, an additional 20% multiplicative. You're going to take an additional 40% multiplicative, and you're going to take 0 mana on Drain Life, which is really going to bring you down 10. So it's still going to cost you mana. Right now it's at 59. And remember, that's 59 over 5 seconds. But if you didn't take this node, it would be 69. All right. Moving over to Reaper Form. First thing you want to do is go straight up and to the left. 80% multiplicative, crit and damage, and then attack and cast speed. You're then going to come to the right, and you actually want to get Soul Shroud. This is going to give you armor per intelligence. For example, if you had 100 intelligence, this is going to give you 400 base armor. You're then going to come down here, and you're going to get base necrotic damage. You need 1 point here for a chance to Mark of Death. And then all the remaining points go into Executioner for added critical strike multiplier. Moving over to your spam skill, which is Rip Blood. First thing you want to do is come to the right here and get Global Spell, and you want to turn it from a physical to a necrotic spell. You're then going to come to the left, and you're going to take Cast Speed, you're going to take Quenching for health and speed of the orbs. You're going to get extra health per intelligence, but more importantly, you're going to get Mana Feast. And basically, Mana Feast is going to give you 9 mana when you hit an enemy. You are then going to come down here, and you're going to take double Blood Splatter. So basically, every time you use Rip Blood, you're going to cast Blood Splatter twice. And that's going to cost you 6 mana. But as long as you are hitting an enemy, it is 9 returned. So really, you are positive 3 mana every time you use Rip Blood. Moving over to your traversal skill, Transplant. And it's crazy looking at this. It says Transplant's going to do 74,000 damage. Damn. What you want to do here is first go to the left and up over here. It's going to give you cast speed, cooldown speed, less health cost, bone armor, and bone armor duration. You're then going to come down, actually, and you're going to take physical to necrotic. You want this to be a necrotic spell. You're then going to come to the right. You're going to take haste, frenzy, additional detonations, kill threshold, bone curse, and then your final point will go right here in Pool of Blood, which slows enemies. Last but not least, we are looking at Death Seal. Now for Death Seal, first thing you want to do is actually take 3 points right here to give you extra duration on your Death Seal. So this is the first node. You're then going to come down over here, and you want to seal your life at 33%. Okay? It's also going to give you more damage when you are sealed based upon your missing health. You're then going to come up, and you're going to get your Mortal Pulse. This is Death Wave every second while sealed. And this is actually going to give you quicker. So now every basically 0.4 seconds instead of every second, you will cause Death Wave. And you're going to get a 300% multiplier on your crit chance. So when you hit this, if you are at melee range, you do some serious damage. You then want to come down here, and you're going to take Curtain Health Drain 0, haste on release, and more multiplicative damage to your Death Seal based upon how many dam stacks you have on yourself. And this will help cleanse you. Those are the skills. So now let's break down the passives. At time of recording, my Lich is level 97, and I will show you where to put those final 3 points. Now for the base Acolyte tree, nothing exciting. On here, first thing you want to take is Forbidden Knowledge for intelligence and necrotic resistance. 6 points into Bone Aura for the extra 120 armor. And then your next 6 points, you actually have a choice. Now here, what you can do is you can put 5 points into Unnatural Preservation, which gives you some ward retention, but more importantly, it gives you necrotic and poison resistance. If you do not need this resistance, these 6 points should come right here into Stolen Vitality, okay? So take the extra life if you do not need the resistances. Those are your options. Moving over to the Lich tree, where we currently have 80 points put in. First 10 go into Apo for intelligence and mana regen, then 8 into Dance on Death, which is 40% damage. This is actually going to be 120% damage because this effect is tripled at low life, and you will be low life when you seal your health. 5 into Gasp of Fate for an extra 60% damage, 8 into Crippling Insight for 16 intelligence, and then you want to take this whole tree here. This is crit chance, attack speed, and crit multiplier. It's the best little cluster on Lich. You then want 8 into 3 Plagues for the penetration of necrotic. You then want necrotic energy for the 20 base spell. You're then going to jump forward for Ageless, which is going to give you more movement speed, attack speed, and leech. And then 10 here for Mind over Body for an additional 20 intelligence. Okay. Jumping over to Warlock, we have 5 into Soul Stealer, which is going to help you with your mana regen, and 5 into Occultist Mind, which again just gives you a boost to your mana. Now, jumping back to Lich, all my final points are going right here into Soul Maw, which is just going to boost your leech when you're actually attacking enemies, so that it's very easy for you to pop your life back up. Those are the passives. Moving over to last Epoch tools, we're going to break down the blessings, idols, and gear, starting with blessings. And for the most part, we are spec'd into defensive blessings with the exception of one. So we have taken lightning resistance, physical resistance, endurance, critical strike avoidance, and our offensive blessing is critical strike multiplier. Now, looking at the idols, you'll love this. Everything is increased health, as much health as you can possibly get. But this is the quintessential idol. This is the large immortal idol where you can get up to 9% health and 54 base. Now, moving over to the gear. There's technically only one item that is required for this build, and you guessed it, it is the Stygian Coal Catalyst. And this is what actually creates Stygian beams from Drain Life. The build does not work without this catalyst, okay? And it's actually, if you're in Merchant's Guild, it's very cheap to even get a 3 LP of this item. It's not very hard. It's a common drop, very easy to acquire. Now, some other items that we are using to help us with 1 to level, crit, and resistances, we are using Ominous. You could also use Nihilus. You could also use an Oracle Amulet. This is not required by any means. This is a Shade of Oribus drop. We are using a Weaver Relic for the 1 to skills. It also gives you some endurance, and you can get intelligence, health, and crit strike multiplier on it. For our rings, I did put on here 2 Phantom Grips because this does help you with your critical strike chance. This is also not required. I mean, in the build that you just saw me in all the gameplay, I'm not using any Phantom Grips, but just know that it will help you with your base critical strike chance, okay? Just kind of a band-aid. For our weapon, we are using Lost Soul. This can give you up to base 91 to your necrotic spell, up to 160 increased spell damage, cast speed, and necrotic penetration. Unequivocally the best weapon for this. I used this, I used Ladle, a couple of other weapons. Lost Soul gave us the most damage. Now, some other items we are using. Helmet, level to Rip Blood, level to Death Seal. Armor, level to Drain Life, level to Reaper Form. Belt, necrotic damage, cleanse, double health. Boots, intelligent movement, double health. Gloves, cast speed, int, double health. And that is the gear. So now let's talk about leveling tips and tricks. This is not a leveling guide, but just kind of get you pointed in the right direction. Now, unfortunately, I don't think this build is something you could actually level with because so many of the skills are actually locked behind the LICH passive tree, which takes a while to get leveled up. Now, there's a lot of people that disagree with me. I actually think the best way to level any Acolyte is through Necromancer. So what I like to do is first skill I take is Summon Skeleton. And what I do is I remove warriors, which means all you have is skeleton archers. And then you come down here and boost their damage. So the first skill I like taking is Skeleton. The second skill I like taking is Summon Bone Golem. And I come right down here and take this tree so that you have a massive minion that is generating a ton of threat and keeping you alive. And then third skill I take is Volatile Zombie, and I come up here this tree and get Kill Threshold, and this is actually your spam skill. So you've got a tank, you've got Kill Threshold, and you've got DPS, and then you put an unspec Transplant on your bar and you fly through the campaign. That's how I like leveling my Acolyte. Now, if you don't want to do minions, that's totally fine. Another option you can use is Harvest, and for Harvest, what you want to do, again, you could get Kill Threshold right at the beginning at 12%, and then you could come down here and boost the necrotic shred chance. You could take area, you could get health per intelligence, and basically you could just be a melee warrior running around hitting with Harvest, and then you take Transplant as your movement, and you have Transplant triggering Bone Curse. So that is another route. You can go Harvest, Transplant, Bone Curse. Now, there are some people that like leveling just with Rip Blood. I don't think it feels really good because Rip Blood takes a while to really get going and you need gear around it early. The best bet is leveling with minions. All right, everyone, that's the build guide. What do you think of my new machine gun LICH? Is there anything I missed? Is there anything I could do to take this to the next level? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Of course, only if you think I've earned it. Check out the Patreon. It is the best way to support into the future. And make sure you join the official Action RPG Discord. We're approaching 4,500 members. It's where we do movie night. It's where we do game night. We have all the voice channels for Last Epoch set up, where there are still people in there daily playing. We do a game giveaway every 2 weeks for just being a member of the community, and it's where I run all my treasure hunt community events. First link in the description for the Discord. I'm done. Hopefully you were entertained or at least learned something. Aaron, out.